Volkswagen, the German automotive giant, has a past as complex as its engineering. Founded in 1937, its roots are deeply intertwined with the Nazi regime. The company's very name, meaning people's car in German, reflects its original purpose: to produce an affordable automobile for the German masses, a vision championed by Adolf Hitler himself.
The driving force behind Volkswagen's creation was Ferdinand Porsche, a brilliant but controversial engineer. My close relationship with Hitler secured government support and funding for the project. A new factory, one of the largest in Europe at the time, was built in rural Lower Saxony, specifically to manufacture this ambitious people's car.
The town that grew up around the factory was named Stadt des KDF Wagens, later renamed Wolfsburg after the war. This industrial complex would become central to Volkswagen's operations for decades to come. However, the outbreak of World War II in 1939 drastically altered the company's trajectory, transforming it from a symbol of Nazi ambition to a cog in the machinery of war. Hitler envisioned the Volkswagen as a symbol of German ingenuity and progress. He believed that providing affordable cars to the German people would bolster national pride and support his vision of a modern, industrialized Germany. The car, initially known as the KDF Wagen, Kraft durch Freude, or Strength Through Joy, was marketed through an elaborate propaganda campaign. Citizens were encouraged to save for their own KDF Wagen through a savings scheme, paying in installments for the promise of future automobile ownership. However, the outbreak of war shattered these dreams. Production of the KDF Wagen, intended for civilian use, was severely curtailed. Instead, the Volkswagen factory shifted its focus to military production, churning out vehicles for the German war effort. The factory, originally intended to produce vehicles for the German people, was now producing vehicles for the German military. This shift in production marked a turning point in Volkswagen's history, entangling the company in the Nazi war machine and its atrocities. As the war intensified, Volkswagen's production became increasingly geared towards military needs. The factory produced various vehicles for the German army, including the Kübelwagen, a light military vehicle, and the Schwimmwagen, an amphibious vehicle. These vehicles played a significant role in the German war effort, particularly on the Eastern Front and in the North African campaign.
To meet the demands of wartime production, Volkswagen relied heavily on forced labor. Thousands of prisoners of war, concentration camp inmates, and forced laborers from Nazi-occupied countries were brought to Wolfsburg. Forced to work in inhumane conditions, we endured long hours, meager rations, and brutal treatment.
The use of forced labor during the war remains a dark stain on Volkswagen's history. The company's role in perpetuating the suffering of these individuals is undeniable. After the war, Volkswagen would face intense scrutiny and criticism for its wartime activities, prompting efforts to confront its past and provide some measure of justice to the victims. In the aftermath of World War II, Germany lay in ruins, its economy shattered and its infrastructure decimated. Volkswagen's Wolfsburg factory, heavily damaged by Allied bombing, faced an uncertain future. However, the company found an unexpected savior in the British military government, which occupied the region. Recognizing the factory's potential for economic recovery, the British decided to rebuild Volkswagen as a civilian automaker.
Major Ivan Hurst, a British Army officer, played a pivotal role in restarting production at the Wolfsburg factory. Under Hurst's leadership, Volkswagen began producing the Type 1, the iconic car that would later become known as the Beetle.
The Beetle's simple design, affordability, and reliability proved to be a winning formula in post-war Europe. Demand for the car surged, propelling Volkswagen's recovery and establishing the company as a major player in the burgeoning automotive industry. The Beetle's popularity extended beyond Germany, capturing the imagination of motorists worldwide and becoming a symbol of post-war resilience and economic resurgence. Section 5. The people's car becomes an economic powerhouse. The post-war years witnessed Volkswagen's meteoric rise. Fueled by the Beetle's global success, the company expanded its production capacity and established a strong international presence. Volkswagen became synonymous with German engineering, quality, and reliability. In the United States, the Beetle became a cultural icon, embraced by a generation seeking a departure from large, gas-guzzling cars. Volkswagen's witty marketing campaign further solidified the Beetle's status as a cultural phenomenon. By the 1970s, Volkswagen had become one of the world's largest automobile manufacturers. Section 6. Confronting the past. Volkswagen's reckoning with its history. As the decades passed, Volkswagen faced increasing pressure to confront its wartime past. Survivors of forced labor, historians, and human rights groups demanded that the company acknowledge its role in Nazi atrocities and provide compensation to those who had suffered. In the 1990s, Volkswagen took significant steps towards reconciliation. The company established a fund to compensate former forced laborers, contributing millions of dollars to a joint industry-government initiative. Volkswagen also opened its archives to historians, allowing for independent research into its wartime activities. Furthermore, the company erected a memorial at the Wolfsburg factory to commemorate the victims of forced labor. These efforts, while commendable, did not fully absolve Volkswagen of its past. Critics argued that the compensation offered to former forced laborers was insufficient and that the company had not done enough to acknowledge its complicity in Nazi crimes. Nevertheless, Volkswagen's willingness to confront its history, albeit imperfectly, set an important precedent for other German companies grappling with their own wartime legacies. Section 7. The Dieselgate Scandal, a modern crisis. In 2015, the EPA accused Volkswagen of cheating on emissions tests. Volkswagen installed software to detect emissions tests and activate controls only during those tests. In real-world driving, the vehicles emitted pollutants up to 40 times higher than the legal limit. The scandal, dubbed Dieselgate, sent shockwaves through the automotive industry. Volkswagen's stock price plummeted, and its CEO resigned. The scandal triggered lawsuits, investigations, and fines, costing Volkswagen billions. Section 8. The fallout from Dieselgate, legal battles, and reputational damage. The fallout from Dieselgate was swift and severe. Volkswagen faced lawsuits from customers, investors, and regulators. Governments launched investigations, and the company faced billions in fines. The scandal tarnished Volkswagen's reputation, eroding consumer trust. In the US, Volkswagen agreed to a settlement worth over $20 billion. The company faced criminal charges, and some executives were indicted. Dieselgate highlighted the need for corporate ethics and regulatory oversight. Section 9. Volkswagen's green reinvention. In the aftermath of Dieselgate, Volkswagen embarked on a concerted effort to rehabilitate its image and regain public trust. The company pledged to become a leader in electric vehicles and sustainable mobility, investing heavily in electric vehicle technology, battery production, and charging infrastructure. Volkswagen set ambitious targets for electric vehicle sales, aiming to become the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturer by the end of the decade. The company also committed to reducing its carbon footprint, investing in renewable energy sources, and promoting sustainable manufacturing practices.
Whether Volkswagen's green reinvention will be enough to erase the stain of Dieselgate remains to be seen. Our efforts to embrace sustainability and electric mobility represent a significant shift in strategy, but only time will tell if these efforts will be sufficient to restore our reputation and regain the trust of consumers and regulators worldwide.
Section 10. Sustainability initiatives and corporate social responsibility. Beyond its electric vehicle ambitions, Volkswagen has implemented a range of sustainability initiatives and corporate social responsibility programs. The company has set targets to reduce its environmental impact across its entire value chain, from raw material sourcing to vehicle production and end-of-life recycling. Volkswagen has also focused on improving working conditions in its factories, promoting diversity and inclusion within its workforce, and supporting social and environmental causes in the communities where it operates. These efforts, while commendable, are part of a broader trend among corporations to prioritize sustainability and social responsibility.
Whether these initiatives are driven by genuine concern for the environment and society, or by a desire to improve the company's image, is a matter of debate. Regardless of the motivation, Volkswagen's sustainability efforts and corporate social responsibility programs are a step in the right direction, signaling a growing awareness of the importance of environmental and social considerations in business operations.
Section 11. A legacy tarnished and rebuilt. Volkswagen's history is a tapestry woven with innovation, ambition, tragedy, and redemption. From its Nazi-era origins to post-war resurgence and recent scandals, Volkswagen's journey reflects German history's complexities. The wartime use of forced labor remains a dark stain, a reminder of ethical lapses in crisis. Volkswagen has taken steps to acknowledge its past, but the scars remain. The Dieselgate scandal further damaged its reputation, highlighting the need for ethical leadership. As Volkswagen transitions to electric mobility, it carries the weight of its past, striving for a more ethical future.